Hello, everyone. I would like to welcome you on our next session, and hope you are feeling well. And today I have the pleasure to present you a lecture by Roberto Gamonal, and maybe a word about Robert. He's a professor of Complutense University of Madrid, and Gamonal merged his passion for journalism and design and become a writer who also participates in Congress conferences and presentations. And today we will hear the presentation about typographic stencils as a creative and didactic tool. So thank you, Roberto, that you are with us today, and hopefully if you will have any questions during the presentation, you can write them directly into the chat box or in the Q&A session, and during the presentation or after. So hopefully after the session, after the video session, we could conduct like Q&A session, the more diving into the topic. Okay, so let's right now start the presentation.
Hello, I'm going to talk about a project which is the continuation of an investigation regarding the use of analog techniques applied to the teaching of typography. The understanding of the typography construction starts from the study of the stroke in the handwriting and the application of logic and geometry with visual adjustments that come about materializing the module. A stroke and module become the two main elements in drawing letters, one manually and the other in a systematic way. The first depends on the movement, the instrument with which it's made, the angle and the pressure. The second, the design of predefined forms that combine with each other. A tool that allows connect both of these concepts is the stencil, which also introduces a third form of letter creation, the lettering through the drawing of its outline. For this reason, we consider that can be a very useful instrument in understanding the construction of the letter by means of the selection of forms that may be based on manual strokes or geometric elements and that may be connected in module ways, creating different simple design of drawing, since the movement of the layout are guided by the stencil itself. In this educational vocation project, various disciplines converge, such as history, geometry, typography design, printing or lettering, and different techniques, both analog and digital, drawing, stenciling, letterpress, laser cutting. The Renaissance was the area in which the technology of movable types and printing in bureau was developed. It was the origin of one of the most important elements in typography, the grid. Its essence lied in the Cartesian principle of dividing what one wants to understand or reproduce in smaller parts by means of horizontal and vertical axes. Handwriting and scribed writing are the object of study under the prince of geometric composition of the search for its rational construction. Luca Pacioli and Albrecht Dürer applied the golden proportion to the Roman alphabet, seeking the harmonious composition of the letters with the help of geometric forms. Dürer also found a pattern of modular creation in Gothic handwriting through the repetition of a diamond-shaped module. Geoffrey Torrey reviews the proportions of the Roman letter, comparing them with those of the shape of human being, fitting them into 10 by 10 grid. The zenith of the rationalization of typography came with the Roman de Roi. The King of France, Louis XIV, commissioned to design a new typography based on mathematical principles. To achieve this, they created a meticulous square grid of 2,304 subdivisions. At the beginning of the 20th century, Dadaism, Constructivism, and Futurism transferred their ideas and concepts to their printed publication, producing an authentic typography revolution. Theo van Desburg develops an alphabet in which he applied what we now consider a module, a constructive element with a simple form can be repeated and combined with himself or with other elements to create something greater. Several experiments question the graphic representation of language, and a universal alphabet is searched for any language and is more suited to speech. Kurt Schwitters designed a monocase alphabet linking stroke and thickness to pronunciation and intonation. The phonetic alphabet of Jan Schichol mixed uppercase and lowercase, and the punctuation was not located in the baseline, but in the upper part of the letter. Nevertheless, the best known example is Universal Alphabet of Harold Bayer. Its objective was to optimize communication using as few research as possible, following the formal and functional precepts of the mythical school Bauhaus. According to Eric Kindle, the systematic use of stencils for the composition of text is given in the liturgical books of the 17th century, in which the lyrics of the songs and prayers were staged along with musical notations. Another ingenious stencil was the Plaqué découpé universel, designed by American Joseph A. David. It is a single plate of thin of 65 by 130 mm that has a series of horizontal, vertical, curved, and angled perforated guides with which you can draw the profile of any letter or number and even make ornaments. The constructive logic is taken to its point of maximum abstraction by Joseph Albers, who developed a stencil of only 10 shapes that could be combined with each other. In the last decade, these interesting stencils have been designed. Tabletto is conceived has a typographic gain of 10 shapes with which not only letters in any language can be created but also illustration. Rua divides the letters into 53 components that are grouped by formal similarity in order to be repeated in the formation of similar letters. In addition, this stencil adds 26 different forms of service, which allow to explore different typographical styles: Roman, Tuscan, grotesque, and decorative. Lettermaker, with 39 elements that constitute basic strokes: horizontal, vertical, diagonal, and curved. Perhaps the most complete and versatile modular typeface in lead is the Super Tipo Veloz. It's an ingenious typographic system composed of more than 300 pieces that allow multiple combinations to create different alphabets decorative letters, illustrations, and ornaments. It was designed by Joan Trochut and marketed by José Iranzo Foundry in 1942. A total of 68 modules were selected to make a stencil of a size of 18 by 23 centimeters. One of the first modular typefaces in history was Fregio Mecano, which translated from Italian means mechanical ornament. It was designed at the end of the 20s. It consists of 20 pieces that can be assembled to create letters, numbers, patterns, borders, etc. To complete the stencil and give it more combinatorial options, the set of modules was presented in two sizes, 6 and 3 cíceros. It has been found several examples of modular typefaces that have a geometric origin in their creation and ornamental in their use. These are basic shapes such as circles, triangles, and squares with different subdivisions. Several foundries in the 30s marketed them with the intention of having them used in printed works such as borders, vignettes, or eye-catchers. Futura Schmuck, from the German word ornament, Elementare Schmuckformen, of the German foundry Stempel AG. In France, the vignettes décors of the Fonderie Typographic François. In Italy, the Fregio Gloria of the Fausto Gallico Fonderia. In Spain, the replica was called Figuras Geométricas, and it is considered the precedent on which the Super Tipo Veloz was based. Of the three stencils, the one that has been tested the most in workshop is the Super Veloz, for its diversity of sizes and shapes and from components based on the fundamental strokes of the letter, which allow to obtain a wide variety of designs. The first prototypes were tested with design students at the London College of Communication to celebrate the 75th anniversary of this ingenious typeface. We held this workshop whose objective was to create a commemorative poster. Since we couldn't work with the original font in lead for logistical and technical reasons, the selection of modules contained in the stencil was cut in acrylic at a size of 12 picas. The stencil was very useful for making sketches of each one of the characters that were assigned to the students in the order to later compose and print them. Another very special didactic experience was carried out with a children's audience. Although the Super Tipo Veloz is a complex typographic system, its ability to create drawings and illustration was going to be very interesting for children between the ages 5 and 12. The use of stencil favored their understanding of the characters through drawing that was created using different components and forced the children to think of the letter as puzzle pieces. In the last workshops for adult audience, we sought to work on the plastic capacity of letters, focusing more on lettering. The Super Tipo Veloz has a very pronounced calligraphic character. The objective was to make a word or concept by mixing the use of a stencil to create the basic components of the letters and the using lettering techniques, enhancing the expressive capacity of graphic message with creating ligatures, shadows, volume, etc. The Super Veloz stencil is revealed as a simple and easy-to-use tool for both an informed audience and an inexperienced audience. It is suitable for both adults and children. The drawing of a letter can be done without previous knowledge of calligraphy or lettering. It helps to understand the construction of characters by means of essential forms that imitate the stroke, which are combined with very elementary operations such as repetition, rotation, and inversion. It helps designers to make sketches that can later be digitalized and vectorized. The results are original. They don't respond to a rigid and geometric design with which we usually associate modular typeface. For all this reason, we consider that it can be a very suitable tool to apply in the teaching of typography from the historical point of view, but also from the creative point of view. Thank you so much.